Hello and welcome to another edition of the Edric Show. I am your host, Edric Jerome. This is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and you'll get notified as I post content each and every week. I've been looking forward to having this conversation. My guest is award-winning writer, producer, and director Damon Jamal.
Yeah.
His latest film, Survival, starring Elise Neal, Demetrius Grosse, and Dylan McNamara, is an intense thriller which sheds light on the problem of neglect and the perceived lack of importance when Black people are the victims of crimes. Survival premieres September 25th on Prime Video and Apple Plus. Damon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, Edric. It's great to meet you and great to be here.
Likewise, man. Nice to meet you too. So let's go. Let's get into it. Tell me about Survival. What motivated you guys to want to tell this intense and by looking at the trailers at time difficult story?
Yeah, it's very intense. I mean, at the end of the day, the main thing is I do want people to tune in for the entertainment value, but at the same time, you got for me personally as a filmmaker, I always have to put those nuggets in there. I always have to put things that make you think and have to put, situations that are really happening in the world to make people reflect on it. So, um, yeah, it's kind of like the pill is in the pizza. You
Hmm,
eat the pizza, you think it's all good, but there's some medicine in there for you.
exactly. And the imagery, I mean, just a sense of you don't usually see, African American women tied up, white male there. I mean, that's you're going there and rightfully so. So tell me about that thought process. And were there some conversations around, you know, is this the way to go? Or just talk to me about that, man, because it's such an intense visual.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure in the writing process, I wanted to take it all the way there. And then in the production process, one thing that was really important was to we had a huge our crew was a lot of there was a lot of females in our crew.
Mm.
And it was important to there was some intense moments, like you said, and I mean, when people are acting, if they're good, they're not really acting. So Elise Neal is playing Tally Fruget, and she winds up in this terrible situation with this guy Dax Lagast, and the things, the emotions that you see on her face are real emotions that she's experiencing. I mean, obviously it's a movie, but and you can't ever ask an actress what their exact process is or where the place they're going, but yeah, she went to an intense place, and he did too. Because as an actor, he's not the guy playing Lagast, the villain in the film. His name is Dylan McNamara. He's like a cool guy. He's like a normal, respectful, nice guy, and it's completely opposite in this movie. The character that he's playing is got a lot of real issues, and he's got some screws loose, and he does some things that you know that are hard to watch at times. So they both had to go to a dark place. You know what I mean? They both had to go to a place that that we couldn't even ask them about. We just have to we just tell them where we need them to be, and then they're going to use their process to get there. So yeah, there's some intense stuff, but that's what you know that's what we need. That's what people need to see. I need to pull people in, and I need to have you emotionally invested in what's going on. And it can't be, you can't sugarcoat things, and you can't be skipping around with this type of story. It's an intense one.
And I imagine to get those types of performances from the actors and the talent on the set, there had to be a level of trust with you and the rest of the team to get to those places so that the actors are able to, like you said, bring that intense performance. So tell me about the trust level and how you went about managing that so that people felt comfortable enough to just really do their thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely we had some long conversations before the film started, just during pre-production about what I was looking for, what I expected. And even and then during the production, um, we had like a room where you could decompress. We had a room where, there was candles in there, there was color, there was even coloring books in there. There was just, you know what I mean, to take your mind off of what was going on. So we did have a room set up, for people to go in there and just kind of chill out for a minute, because I had these conversations with in particular, Tally, who and Dax, those characters, they have to go to, like we just talked about, they have to go to a really intense place. And so, we had long conversations about what I was expecting and about the character. And I'm the type of director where I just want to make sure that the actor understands the character. Like once the actor understands the character fully, then there's a trust that I give, because I'm not a puppeteer. I'm not trying to, oh, say this line like this and say that. I mean, of course, sometimes you want to try it a different way, but in general, once once I feel like the actor knows the character, I let them go. I mean, that's why we brought them on, because they're the best person for this job, for that particular character. So I'm not trying to second guess too much. I want to let them go and take it take it all the way there without me having to manipulate and micromanage each word, each line.
The film was well received at several film festivals, including some wins. You won Best Feature Film at the People's Film Festival of Harlem. You also won Best Dramatic Film at the Detroit Black Film Festival. Talk to me about your experience with film festivals in general, and then in particular, your response when you found out that your film, were actually being awarded and winning, which doesn't happen to most films.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, honestly, if I'm gonna be real with you, Edric, I'm not really a big fan of film festivals. I think film festivals in general, it's like kind of a business. And they're like, oh, it's $40 a film. Cool. We just got 500,000 films. We're doing good. You know what I mean? And a lot of times they work with the same type of people. It's who you know the right person, your film's gonna win. So me personally, as a filmmaker, this is my fourth feature film. I just like to get my film out. I want, like it's the film, like you mentioned earlier, it's coming out on Prime Video, it's coming out on Apple TV, it's coming out on Google TV. It's gonna be there for the masses to see. So really, that's what I'm trying to do. However, sometimes it's good to throw your film in a couple of different film festivals and see what happens, But and that's what we did. So in general, I would say I'm not a big fan of film festivals, but I do appreciate them. I mean, I love film festivals as a person that loves film. I've been to some great film festivals and seen films before they came out, and really, and been able to, like, the Q&A with cast and crew is really interesting in general, not even just talking about our film. Just that's a great experience as a person who loves cinema and as a filmmaker. Like, that's a great experience to take part in. But yeah, but in this case, really what happened was the pandemic happened. And so, we shot this film literally right before the pandemic. So it's been a few years. So the pandemic slowed some stuff down. So we finally got the film edited, ready to go. And then so we're like, hey, let's throw it out there. Let's go to a few film festivals and see what the people say, what the reception is. And we entered four different film festivals. And we got two awards. It felt great. It felt, and even regardless of the awards, just even all four film festivals that we went to, Pan African Film Festival, ABFF, the American Black Film Festival, and then the other two that you mentioned where we won, Detroit Film Festival, as well as the People's Film Festival in Harlem. All of those film festivals were great because you get to just watch people watch the film and see the real reactions. People that don't know anything, I'm in Harlem, like they don't know me. I don't have a bunch of people in the audience. So all the reactions are real reactions. And as a filmmaker, that's so important because I'm sitting there, we're in the edit, we're sitting here in the office in the dark, just working on the edit, and we're doing 10, 15 different, edits. And it's just, a committee of, basically two or three people trying to figure this out, going back and forth between, me and the editor, or maybe a producer. So, we don't know what the world thinks. We don't know if this scene was funny, or if this scene was too dark, or if this scene was stupid, or you know what I mean? Like, we're just going off of our own input, and it's just us. And sometimes you get caught up in the story, and you need an outside person to come in and say, oh, that looks great, or oh, that looks terrible. So in this case, for the most part, I think it played pretty well. So I just enjoy people enjoying the film that I created in a dark room, you know what I mean, at 3 in the morning.
You mentioned, being in Harlem and people may not know you or whatever, but if people are fans of hip hop, they've undoubtedly seen your work because earlier in your career you were known and you've worked with some of the biggest hip hop acts on the planet in the shooting of music videos. I mean, you've worked with E40, Tyga, Kendrick Lamar, Rick Ross, and dozens of other well-known, world-class, internationally known hip hop artists. Sitting here today, as Damon sits here today, how does it feel to know that you have had a major influence on hip hop culture and helped shape the perception of hip hop literally around the world?
Oh man, I don't know if I can take credit for all that. That is a huge that's a huge power that you just put like
I read off the
Thanos
names,
glove.
man.
I don't know if I have the Thanos glove.
I read the
You know?
names off. I read the names of the
But
artists, man.
yeah, I mean, I just, I've always been a filmmaker. And even if it's shooting a 3 or 4 minute music video, to me, it was always a film. Always. Like that's how I always approach it. I didn't go to film school or anything. I just picked up a camera and just started shooting. And it just happened to work out where a couple artists saw my vision. And then that led to the next artist and the next artist. And, I shot, hundreds of music videos. I shot like somewhere around like 400 music videos in my career. And but I always approached it as a film. Like I literally always looked at it as film school. It was always a learning process and it was always had fun with it, or I usually had fun with it. And so I mean it feels great. I mean, it feels great to like, growing up in the Bay Area, like shooting videos for E40. Like I grew up on E40's music, shooting videos for Too Short. Like I grew up on him, all those guys. It's when you get to, you're finally meeting the artists that you grew up listening to, and now you're working with them and directing them and creating these, Kendrick Lamar. Even I mean, I didn't grow up with Kendrick Lamar because he's in my same generation basically. But yeah, it's just really cool to, to be a fan of somebody's music and then work with them and then get paid for it. And then you're essentially, I mean, pretty much all the videos I've done in my career have been like the artist sends me a song and they're like, go crazy, figure it out. Tell me what you want. So I just get to literally just craft. I usually put like two different treatments together. I have like, what people expect, and then I'll have like, well, let's go all the way left field with it, because you never know, some artists don't want to go to left field with it, but at the same time you got to present that because you never know. So I just get to create. I'll hear a song and I'll just create a storyline. And and it's just fun, man. And it's obviously music videos are just, it's faster. Like you can shoot a music video in a day or two, and then in 2 weeks later it comes out, as opposed to a film. Like I said, we shot this right before the pandemic, and here we are, you know 3.5 4 years later talking about it. Like, man, this is a it's a process. So but yeah, music videos, commercials, it's just fast and fun. So I've always enjoyed it. I grew up on hip hop, so to be able to create these little 3 minute films in hip hop that hopefully, because of YouTube, will be around forever. It feels great. I'm immortalized. I can never die. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned being from the Bay Area. You're born in Berkeley, raised in Oakland. I've talked to a lot of other people on the show who are from Oakland. There's something about Oakland that just there's a culture and there's a way of a vision from Oakland. So tell me about how Oakland's culture and history has shaped your work as an artist.
Oh man, I mean, Oakland is like is the land of hustlers, man. I
Mm.
mean, Oakland is, especially in the music business. It's like, I mean, it goes back to, Too Short selling records out of his trunk, like literally. I mean, yeah, we come from it's a very creative place, and it's a place where we feel like we got to just do it ourselves. There's no outside big investors that are going to come in and change our lives. We got to take this money, press up this tape, press up this film. I mean, that's how I started. Literally, like I pressed up DVDs, and we had them in all the Rasputins. I did like these hip hop DVDs. I did little documentaries, and we would get them in. There was at the time there was like 10 different Rasputins all through the Bay Area in Northern California, and we would just put them out and go collect our checks, every couple weeks. And that's what it is. That's just you just learn to be a hustler, and you learn to um not wait on anybody. That's what Oakland is. We're not waiting on anybody. We're gonna take it. We're gonna go all the way there with it. And if you like it or don't like it, it doesn't matter. We're not gonna stop until we succeed. Period.
You also have a successful production company. So tell me about In Your Face Filmworks. Tell me how that started.
In Your Face Filmworks started just as a result of, like I said, same thing, just having to do it on your own. I mean, there was no big production company that was going to come in and hire me as a director. I created my job. As a director, I just picked up a camera and I started directing. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew that I knew the result that I needed. I knew that artists want, I started off doing, like I said, like documentaries, and then that led to artists asking me about music videos. Hey, do you do music videos? And I didn't at the time. So, and really honestly, what happened is I got a camera that got stolen out of my car. And I wasn't shooting music videos because the camera that I was using was just kind of like, like it was cool for documentaries, but it wasn't like anything you want to see on MTV. So the camera got stolen, and then I was forced to upgrade. So when I upgraded my camera, I already had artists asking me. I would turn them down because I'm like, I'm not ready. Like, I don't want my name appearing on something that's substandard. So let me just keep doing my craft until I get better, till my production gets better. But yeah, I mean, I just upgraded my camera and then started shooting music videos, and that led to just me buying more equipment. As I would take that money and reinvest, I would go buy some more lights. I would go buy a better computer. I would go buy more RAM for that computer. I would go, upgrade the software on all that stuff. And as I started accumulating software and hardware, it turned into a company. And yeah, and then, I mean, we started literally with nothing, and it just started accumulating stuff, and to the point to now where our company can produce, feature films. And it's a beautiful thing. It feels great.
As a now, you're in a part of your career where you had success and, you have a business and you've done it. What advice would you give to new filmmakers who may be starting their careers? And maybe what are a couple of the lessons you learned along the way about filmmaking?
Um, it's tough. I don't know. It's a different time right now. I started in '07. '07 was when we started. So it's been a long road. And I've learned every year, every project, honestly. The advice is you gotta write something and you gotta shoot it, whatever it is. And you gotta do that all the time. You have to, every week you need to be perfecting your craft. You need to be either writing or shooting, or reading maybe a script that of a movie that you saw a long time ago before you were even interested in filmmaking. Just read a script and then watch that movie again with the eye of a filmmaker. That's important. um I took some acting classes just to be a better director. I spent a little bit over a year studying Meisner, and just being surrounded by actors just to learn that language. And you have to continuously practice your craft. You can't stop, and you don't wait for anybody. Just get it done. So if you do that, you'll be an overnight success, a decade later.
Um, as we, I got a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. What do you want people to walk away from after seeing Survival?
I want them to walk away, and first of all, I want them to be entertained. I want them to feel like what they just saw was quality entertainment and intense. And I want them to have to rewatch it. I want them to have to feel like, there's some things that they need to rewatch to get a better understanding of, because there's, like I said, I planted, there's different things in there that I planted for people, and you might not necessarily catch everything on the first viewing. So, but I want them, I mean, I created the film for people to enjoy. So even though there's a lot of dark moments, there's some light moments and there's some dark comedy in there as well. But there's some redemption at the end. And an interesting thing about this film that I put in there at the time. um I was I was looking to create there's a if you see in the trailer that there's a word in there that a lot of people might not know that the little girl says. She says we learned about alavanca today, and alavanca is a Portuguese word that basically means like leverage, and it's something that I learned in writing this film. It's a term that's used in jujitsu. All right. And so Alavanca is using leverage. And a lot of times it's perceived as the physical leverage. Like the whole point in jujitsu is a smaller person can, control and submit a larger person. And but that doesn't go on just a physical level, that goes on a mental level as well. So, our character Tally Fruget, she employs in the movie, she's going to employ Alavanca, and she learns to use the leverage in order for her to get control in this situation where she's the more submissive person. And you got the big bad guy Dax Gas. He's dominant, but using Alavanca, you can switch those roles and come out on top. So I think that that's an important lesson. That's kind of a life lesson, obviously. And as a result, I actually at the time I wasn't, I was just studying it just, on an intellectual level, but I actually started doing jujitsu like this over this past year, and it's great, you know what I mean? And so now I'm really learning the physical parts of that as well. So this movie took me to a whole nother part of my life that I didn't expect. I'm over here training jujitsu 3 times a week, going to competitions. Matter of fact, I just got a silver this past weekend, so that was cool. But
That's
but yeah, man, it's there's a lot of lessons in there. So I want people to pay attention, and while you're being entertained, know that I'm gonna make sure you learn something. We're gonna learn something today.
you'll learn today, man.
Hmm.
Final wrap up question. So, what's next? This project, obviously starts streaming on Monday, September 25th. But what's next for Damon Jamal?
Um, I don't know if I can really talk about it right now, Edric, but
Breaking
I have
news.
a project that I'm very excited about that's in development right now. Obviously, there's a writers and a
Correct. I gotcha.
actor strike, which is
Gotcha.
definitely causing some issues
Understood.
in this,
Understood.
even in the indie world, in this indie Hollywood world that I live in. It's some issues. But I do have another thriller that I'm working on right now, and hopefully in the next few months, you know, maybe I can come back on the show and we can talk
Absolutely.
about it, and I could tell you more. But it's yeah, I think I've kind of found my genre, as I've traveled through all these different genres, from documentaries to music videos to commercials to dramas to I did a hip hop musical. You know, thriller is probably where my heart is most excited at right now. Until I can get my good sci-fi slash fantasy budgets that I want. I think thriller is a world that I want to live in, and I'm trying to create these stories, especially now with streaming media, just streaming services. Like, you got to grab people quick because they're gonna click off. Like, okay, they start watching my movie on Amazon and 10 minutes go by. If they start getting bored, they're gonna go watch something else. There's just too much competition. There's too many other great TV shows. There's too many other great movies. So my thing now is I gotta grab you in the first 5 to 10 minutes. So survival, we grab you in the first 5 minutes and you're stuck. You're not going anywhere, like, for sure. So that's where I'm gonna take it, at least for the foreseeable future, for the next few years. I'm trying to create these films that just grab you and rope you in, and you can't go anywhere. You're stuck for the next 90 minutes or more.
Well, Damon, if people want more information about you or your production company, where can they go?
You can go to inyourfacefilm.com, INYOFACEFILM.com. You can find me all over social media at Damon Jamal. Also check out 195 Media, who helped produce this film. And our exec I gotta give a quick shout out before we leave. I have to
Sure,
give a
of
shout out
course.
to my executive producer, Leah Daniels Butler and Henry Butler. Leah Daniels is a famous casting director. You know, she did Empire for many years. She just did the recently she did the White Men Can't Jump, that's on Hulu. Um, she did the Coming to America, that's on Amazon. And yeah, I wouldn't have, wouldn't have they helped create this opportunity for us to have this film. So I definitely big shout out to Leah and Black for making this happen. And it was a rocky road, but it's feeling good right now. So I think we're in a good place to do more in the future.
Awesome. Well, Damon, congratulations on the film. Once again, let me give the particulars. The film is Survival, starring Elise Neal, Demetrius Grosse, and Dylan McNamara. It will debut online on Monday, September 25th on Prime Video and Apple Plus and Google TV. Damon, continued success. Thank you so much for coming on the Edric Show. I really appreciate your time. I really enjoyed our conversation. And when you're able, maybe you can come back and we can talk about your next project.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Appreciate you. Have a
This ha-
great day.
You too. This has been another edition of the Edric Show. As promised, intelligent conversation with interesting people. I am your host, Edric Jerome. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you on the next episode.